Spoiler warning. This is Eden Zero. Did you ever hear about Fairy Tail or Rave Master? Well, it's the same creator. Now here's the thing. The manga is drawn incredibly well. Sometimes there's panel you just want to stop and admire. Also, the way it's paneled is such a breeze for the eye. It's understandable, coherent, and, well, detailed. At the time, I started Eden Zero at the same time as I was reading One Piece Wano arc. And there's a lot of pro you can give to Oda and his artwork, but I felt that in the Wano arc, it was busy, overwhelming, and rushed. The paneling was done quickly, some art felt scrambled without leaving the sketching phase. It felt like the creator didn't care, or was too busy. While Eden Zero, the manga that was just starting, you could feel the energy and excitement in the art. The energy of a beginner. The optimism of someone that's just starting something new. You could almost feel the smug that Hiro had while making some of the art. So, what's the problem with the anime? Is there even a problem? Well, let's go take a look. It look fine, right? It look like the average anime you see on an anime list, which is funny because I didn't imagine the anime looking like that. My first thought were, why is it animated like that? Or maybe look like that? Shouldn't it be, well, more? What I mean by that is that, yeah, the animation can be incredible at times, so I have no problem with that. But where are the moments where I could just pause and watch the visual? I get it that sometimes anime need to downgrade the art just to make it easier to animate with some of the character. But what does the anime brought to the aesthetic of the show if it just downgraded it? So let's take a look at JC's staff work, the company behind the anime of Eden Zero. Okay, they made Food War, it's animated alright. They made Danmachi, not bad. Oh, they made the season 2 of One Punch Man. The Prison School is well animated actually. Konosuba the movie. Okay, that's also well animated. Okay, so they're fairly good at making anime. Sure, they're not the best if you happen to compare them to studios such as Kyoto Animation, UFO Table, I don't know, Mappa, or Bones. But still, it's not bad, right? Their work is objectively good. But it's the way they animate or adapt the manga that's kinda off. If you look at Wit Studio, the one that made Attack on Titan, you can compare scene from the anime to the manga and notice the major difference in key element they brought to the anime. Now, that's subjective, right? But I think they upgraded the art style, they made the aesthetic look less sketchy and kept the line work done to make the shadow as a visual style of the show, and that's brilliant. And so they didn't downgrade the art style. Matter of fact, they upgraded it and made beautiful animation throughout the show and key moments that were wonderful to look at. Now let's look at Demon Slayer. If you compare the manga and the anime, the first thing I notice are the color. Also, it feels sharper. Characters look dynamic and pleasing to the eyes. It feels more professional, if you understand what I mean. They also use different line work and color. For example, the aesthetic of every character move, or more specifically Tanjiro, where his water feels straight out of an old Japanese painting, and that really blew me away. Now let's look at Eden Zero, the anime. The anime draw the character kinda similar to the manga, I suppose. Sometimes it can look incredible, yeah, but here and there it's not impressive, and most of the time it's average. Some panel or like moment are not quite animated the same, there's less dynamic in the position, stuff like that. It's not impressive, and most of the time it's kinda average, to be honest. It doesn't improve on the art of Machima or try to excel in its animation all the time. It just animated, I guess. Let's take example of Valkyrie death scene. In the manga, it's beautifully illustrated, and to be honest, I didn't know who that character was, and I felt sad for Homura when she died. Now in the anime, her last stand isn't really epic. She just fights and dies. You don't feel the emotion. It feels more like a battle that she lost and that's it. Yes, she dies. It didn't bring anything to the manga. Matter of fact, it felt like it was lacking because while the manga you could imagine what happened in between panel. In this one, while you see what happened, it wasn't executed perfectly or in a good way, I would say. Also, let's go straight into comparing both of them. Granted, that's a fair criticism and I won't deny. Animation aren't meant to be paused. If I look at Naruto, it's really well animated show, but some fight if I pause, it will really not be pretty to look at. And I don't want to do that. I'll try to be fair with the anime and use key animation to compare to the manga. Key animation are kind of like the animation that are meant to be watched in a longer period of time. Let's do a quick explanation of what is a key animation. A key frame. If I want my character to sit down, I'll draw him standing first, then I will draw him sitting. Then I will draw in between the frame of those two key animation of him being stand up to him sitting. Now, the movement of him that is sitting down, I will not pause there. I will pause when he is sit down, which is the key frame of what I'm talking about. Those key moments are clearly meant to be still frame so that people can look at it longer. They're meant to be looked at. They're not meant to transition to another movement. Like there, if you compare them, the anime lose the dynamism, while the manga was more unique and tried to do something special. The anime just made it whatever. Or like there in this shot, or like they're in a fight. Because I guess it was too hard, the anime just put shadow all over them and make it kind of ugly to look at or boring. There's also this that just doesn't really look as good, or this that because of the paneling they try to translate to the anime but doesn't look quite right. And there's this moment and that. Hell, I wouldn't really blame that hard to staff because I don't know who to blame. I mean, if we look at other work of hero that was animated, for example Fairy Tail or Rave Master, I'll see that they also got downgraded in the art without bringing much in it. Like here are a few examples to show you. As you can see, it's not really bringing anything new except downgrading it. Like a certain panel in Fairy Tail completely changes the anime. While if you compare One Piece, the Wano arc, the anime versus the manga, it might as well be day and night. Toei Animation did wonderful work with the anime, and plus they were making a movie at the same time. One Piece Red, I think. So incredible work on their part. Like they really changed some moments in the manga that I just didn't like, and they even animate extra stuff. So excellent work. Honestly, I think that Iten Zero deserved better. Partly because I wish that if it was well animated, that's just me hoping, that more people would talk about it and maybe it would be more popular. But also because it would achieve the same level of work that the manga has in its art and its paneling and all that. So I'm not too worried about the anime. In Japan I heard that Eden Zero is kind of popular enough to have a second season. So maybe it's just me, right? And I shouldn't be bothered. But I still feel like it's a little bit unjust to the manga whenever I look at their animation and still feel like Anyway, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to not forget the channel, and until we see each other again, have a good day.
Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small. Way back before we blew it all. Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small. Way back before we blew it all. Too many things going on, I can't keep track of them all. From people dropping